Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing good. So in today's video, we're going to have a look at a very important financial statement known as the income statement. So as you might know, a company publishes its income statement 4 times in a year, which is known as a quarterly result. And every half year, company also publishes its balance sheet as well as cash flows. And today we're going to have a look at the income statement, and we'll also decode the various parts of the income statement and also decode what conclusions we can draw from them as a point of view of investors. Because see, after all, this is not a channel where you can get an MBA degree or PhD degree. We're only going to look at information that is important to us from point of view of investing and what conclusions we can draw from that as investors. So that being said, if you're someone who's from a commerce background, this video might go a bit easy for you. So feel free to watch it in 1.5x or 2x. And if you're someone who's not from a commerce background, rest assured, I'll explain this in a very simple manner, no technical terms used, and I'll explain it to the best of my ability. So on that note, let's start the video. So guys, first we'll understand the income statement on screener का interface, because screener का interface is थोड़ा easy to understand, and especially if you're not from a science background. So first we'll look at screener पे how you can analyze income statements, and then we'll look at the actual corporate document that company publishes. So first, let's take an example of a company, a transformers rectifiers, basically makes your transformers and stuff. So this is basically what an income statement looks like. There's sales, expenses, operating profit, margin, other income, interest, depreciation, profit before tax, tax percentage, net profit, and EPS. So first, let's understand sales, right? Sales is known as the top line of the company. Sales or revenue, it is the same thing. It is known as top line of the company. Then if you minus sales from expenses, expenses in screener pay, there are two types of expenses, direct as well as indirect expenses. So screener pay, both of them are clubbed together. And if you minus sales from expenses, you get the operating profit, or it is also known as EBITDA, that is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. Now, why we look at operating profit? Because it gives us a insight into the core operations of the company without looking at other factors. Like if you look at it only at the company core business, how is it doing? Then we look at EBITDA or EBITDA margins. Next, what we have is operating profit margins, or also known as EBITDA margins. Then what we have is other income. Now, what's other income? Other income can be your, let's say if company invests some money in FD, then that income is known as other income. Then interest basically is the amount that company pays on borrowed money. If a company ने बैंक से loan वगैरह लिया है, then company will pay interest. Then there's depreciation. Now depreciation, simple words में, it is the wear and tear and use of assets, right? Now depreciation calculate करने की भी there's different methods, but as I said, हमको यहाँ पर PhD करनी नहीं है. हमको बस याद रखना है कि depreciation is nothing but wear and tear of assets. राइट. एंड इंटरेस्ट कैसा है कि जितना आप ज़्यादा लोन लोगे उतना आपका इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट बढ़ेगा. एंड डिप्रिसिएशन इज समथिंग लाइक इफ यू डू कैपेक्स और कैपेसिटी एक्सपेंड कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर, that is a term we're going to use forward as well. So just remember, if you do more capex, your depreciation will go up because you're basically building more fixed assets, right? So if your capex increases, your depreciation increases. And then there's profit before tax, right? So after all these line items, you get the profit before tax, and then there's a tax percentage. If you deduct the tax, then you get the net profit, and then what you get is the EPS, right? So now a concept is ki as shareholders, right, we get money after everybody else is paid. So after company pays off all its debtors, after company pays the bank, all different, after company pays its laborers, after company pays for its raw material charges, everything that is left in the end is for the shareholders, right? So as shareholders, what matters to us is EPS. And EPS is nothing but the net profit divided by equity base of shareholders. We'll look at the corporate document how EPS is calculated, right? So this is basically a snapshot of quarterly results. What we understood, first, top line is known as sales or revenue, then bottom line is known as net profit or EPS. And there's two ways to look at quarter results. First is YoY, which means year on year basis, and then there's Q on Q, that means quarter on quarter. So for example, let's say company has published its March 2025 results, which is what? The last quarter. Now let's take for example, company published its March 2025 results, which is the last quarter, or also known as the Q4, right? So if we have to compare it year on year, what we will do is that we will compare the results with the corresponding quarter of last year. So in this example, March 2024. So if you look at it, if you press this icon, you'll get a year on year sales growth, which tells you how much company has done more in revenue as compared to last year. Now we'll explain this in a separate video why sales ka growth is more important than the actual number, but for now just stick with me. So first, what we have is 32%. So what it's basically trying to tell us कि in Q4 FY24 company did 513 crores of revenue, Then in Q4 FY25, company did 676 crores of revenue, which is a growth of 32% year on year. Got it? Very easy to understand. Now, if you have to look at it on quarter on quarter basis, what we will look at? We will look at Q3 of FY25, and we will look at Q4 of FY25, right? So if you look at it, company has shown growth of X percentage. Now, for which companies do we look at year on year, or for which companies we look at on quarter, right? So we only look at year on year for those companies which have some sort of seasonality to their business, right? And most of the companies do have seasonality in their business. So for example, in case of jewelry companies, they do very well in Q3 and Q4 because New Year, wedding, Diwali, all these reasons. Then also what many capital goods player do good in Q3 or Q2 because there's some sort of seasonality. But in IT companies, there's no seasonality. That is why IT companies we always look at quarter on quarter basis, because IT companies there's no seasonality, right? Whereas in other industries, there's like most of the production is done in Q4 or Q1 there's some spillover. These are very easy concepts. So first is क्या सीखा हमने कि if there's seasonality to the business, we will look at year on year basis, which is for most companies. But IT companies के लिए we look at quarter on quarter because there's no seasonality, right? I hope this is clear to you guys. So in a snapshot, if I have to analyze results, what I will do is I will look at the results. I will look at the year on year growth that company has shown. Then I will look at expenses. Then what I will get is I will get the EBITDA or the EBITDA margin or the operating profit. Then I will see the margins. Then what I will see if there's significant other income as well. So it's just normal. 10 crores ka revenue is not that big of a deal. Then I will look at interest. If interest cost is going up, first what it means is that company is taking on more debt. Then company debt doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, right? If company wants to do a capex, company is seeing good demand, then company will of course take loan or issue equity to increase their capacity, right? So this is an important topic we'll discuss in balance sheet. But for now, interest cost बढ़ रहा है मतलब क्या? Company is basically taking more loan. Then depreciation मतलब क्या? Company is doing more capex. Then we get the profit before tax. You can also compare year on year पे 56 crores का company did profit before tax, and now company is doing 120 crores का, so approximately 100% growth दिखाई है. Then what you will see, net profit. Company did 42% का 42 crores का net profit. Then it did 94 crores का net profit. If you look at it, इधर आपको growth rate भी दिखेगा, यहाँ पर आपको growth rate भी दिखेगा. So company did 130% increase in its net profit. And then EPS में भी आपको दिखेगा 1.4 से EPS has increased to 3.14. It's approximately 110% growth. EPS first of all increases when the net profit of the company increases. And when does it decrease? Momentarily, when a company does QIP, that is qualified institutional placement. That is a method. If the company doesn't want to take on debt, company can issue equity. Or if company does a rights issue, then in that case what happens is your equity base increases. As we look at the corporate document, whenever equity base decreases, for momentarily the EPS seems a bit artificially depressed. So we always have to look if company has done a QIP or anything. So if you guys are liking this video so far, if you find it informative, make sure to like the video and also drop a comment as to what you like the most. So I hope you guys understood an income statement, right? So now we look at the actual document on how Screener derives its results. So if you have to go to the document, what I will do is I'll simply press on this document and then I'll get the document, and if I scroll down, then I'll come to this consolidated statement right here. And always you want to look at results on consolidated basis, right? So first let's look at this. इसका थोड़ा सा complicated रहता है, इसलिए I always prefer Screener first. So if you look at quarter ended, so we only have to focus on these three items right here for year on year comparison, and this is for the whole year. So this means पूरे FY24 में कंपनी इतना रेवेन्यू किया एंड देन पूरा FY25 में कंपनी ने इतना रेवेन्यू किया है. सो विल इग्नोर दिस फॉर नाउ, विल ओनली फोकस ऑन दिस पार्ट राइट हियर, राइट? सो आपको दिखेगा कंसोलिडेटेड फाइनेंशियल रिजल्ट्स फॉर क्वार्टर एंडेड 31 मार्च विच इज फोर्थ क्वार्टर. सो यहाँ पर आपको दिखेगा टोटल इनकम, इनकम इज रेवेन्यू फ्रॉम ऑपरेशन प्लस अदर इनकम. तो आपको यहाँ पर टोटल इनकम दिखेगा 683 करोड़. बट इफ यू गो टू स्क्रीनर, यू विल सी कि कंपनी इज शोइंग 676. This is why, because in Screener it has a separate line item known as other income, and that other income is shown to us over here. So इधर दोनों को ऐड करके we get 683 crores, and if you add this 676 plus 10, you will get almost 683 crores. And Screener also rounds up to the to our decimals and stuff. So then there's expenses. Don't look at this itna expenses. Basically there's direct as well as indirect cost. So COGS, which is known as cost of goods consumed or cost of material consumed, that if you minus, then this purchase of stock, change in inventory, employee benefit, we don't have to look at into it. हमको कुछ एग्जाम नहीं देनी, इसना इसका MBA करना है. We will only look at total expenses कितना आया मुझे, इतना आया, ठीक है. मुझे प्रॉफिट बिफोर आइटम्स PBT या फिर प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स कितना है मेरा 116 करोड़, राइट. इधर लैक्स में दिया है, सो वी विल रिसीव 2 डेसिमल्स, एंड अगर मिलियंस में दिया है विल रिसीव ओनली 1 डेसिमल. सो आपको देखिए यहाँ पर 56 करोड़ का प्रॉफिट हैज़ इंक्रीज टू 116 करोड़, विच इज़ ऑलमोस्ट 100% ग्रोथ. एंड यहाँ पर अगर आप मैच करोगे सो यूल गेट ऑलमोस्ट द सेम नंबर, राइट. एंड कभी कभी स्क्रीनर में देयर 19-20 का फर्क हो जाता है, बट इट डजंट मैटर इतना. नाउ इफ यू लुक एट दिस एक्सेप्शनल आइटम एज वेल, इन केस ऑफ सुजलॉन एनर्जी ऑल्सो देयर वाज अ व्हाट डू यू डू, डिफर्ड टैक्स, कंपनी ऑल्सो गॉट अ बेनिफिट ऑन दैट, बट दैट डजंट मैटर. व्हाट मैटर्स इज प्रॉफिट बिफोर टैक्स. देख लिया अभी आपको करंट डिफर्ड टैक्स डजंट मैटर इतना, आपको बस यहाँ पर आप देखोगे कि इतना टैक्स क्यों है, that is enough. Then what we will do, if there's other comprehensive income, doesn't matter itna. Then what only matters is कि total comprehensive income कितना है, that is basically a sum of this. And then important is profit for the period, that is profit after tax. And then if you scroll down, and then what matters the most is the EPS, right. So EPS कैसे calculate करते हैं, net profit divided by share capital. So अभी if you look at it, total net profit कितना था, 9420 lakhs, which is 94 crores. And then if you look at it, कंपनी का कितना ये इक्विटी बेस is 302, मुझे 3002 lakhs. Now if you divide this number by this number, you will get this number, simple maths. Now here if you observe one thing, first is कि company had equity base of close to 1500 crores, but now it's 3000 crores. Why? Because as I said, company did a QIP for setting up a new plant. So this is one thing you have to track, because if this was 1400 crores, then इसका EPS would have shown as 9. So company does annualize it, इधर दिखेगा not annualized, but this is one thing you have to keep in mind. So if company does QIP, थोड़ा artificial depress होगा. बस that was it for the income statement, right? And income statement आप इधर find कर सकते हो, या फिर अभी कंपनी का just नया रिजल्ट आया, तो what you can do is you can go to this document section right here, and here you'll find the unaudited financial results, right? Then also you can go to the statements, you can look at this is standalone, but we'll look at the consolidated statements right here. So first what you look at income, right? You'll add income, other income as well, then you'll minus expenses, so you'll get the profit before tax. If you subtract if profit before tax के बाद we'll add the tax, current tax, deferred tax, doesn't matter itna tax. Then we'll get the profit after tax. Then what, after we divide the profit after tax or the net profit by the equity share capital, that is here, we'll get the EPS. That's it. So that was it for today's video, guys. This was just a brief about the income statement, and if I have to summarize it, what we first saw, we saw income statement. What income statement shows? Top line, bottom line. Top line means sales, bottom line means net profit or EPS. Then what we saw the different line items, how interest and depreciation play an important role. Then what we saw why we look at EBITDA. Why we look at EBITDA? Because first it shows us a snapshot of the core business operation of the company, excluding other income, other things. It shows us how the business का core business कैसा कर रहा है. That basically it shows us. That is why we look at EBITDA. And then what we saw, profit before tax, and how EPS is calculated. So that was it for today's video, guys. I hope you liked the video, and if you're from a non-commerce background, make sure to comment down if you understood the video, or if do you want some more clarity as well. I'll answer your questions in the comment as well. So if you like the video, make sure to like it, share with your friends who are interested in investing and learning more about this stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.